You were in the UK for the Apple Music Festival,
Yeah.
wasn't it? And you were opened for Carrie somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Carrie Underwood, that was it. And it was very good because there's different ways that American singers come out. And you were very good because you came out and you started talking to the audience. And I think they shocked you slightly because they already knew the words to some of your songs. If we haven't got lots of questions, I think the thing I know the radio people particularly like is a little bit of background, if you don't mind doing that.
Sure.
If you could kind of tell us your story, especially where the music came from, and about, because you were born in California,
That's right.
and they're slightly interesting parents and everything like that. So if you can just sort of tell us everything about you in 2 minutes, it would be wonderful.
Okay, yeah. So I was born in California, and my parents, I'm glad you think it's interesting. They both are in construction and construction management. My mom was kind of the first woman in that field at her job, and I think that had a big impact on me, not being sort of discouraged by the fact that there aren't a lot of women right now in country music. Instead, I thought of that as a great opportunity because they must need more women. So actually when I first got out of school, I went into psychology research because I wasn't sure if music could provide me with enough income to live in California. And then I decided kind of midway through that I worked at Berkeley and Stanford, and I just felt this pull to do music the whole time. And so I took a big leap of faith. A professor said, imagine yourself 80 years old and what would you regret missing out on, psychology or music? And I said music. So I walked out of that and into a huge gamble, and it worked out, thank goodness. I'm here with you all today, so that's I'm really lucky.
So, with your songs, what's interesting here, although people know about Burning House, the first one to get big play on the radio at the start is My Mistake.
That's
so
right.
Tell us something about My Mistake and start the answer by saying My Mistake.
Yes.
Very good.
So My Mistake, I'm so excited. They're playing it on BBC Two, and we actually went by there, or Radio 2, we went by there this morning, and My Mistake is about how a lot of times I'm too nervous to start things before they happen. Like you see someone across the room and you're too terrified even to talk to them, and you kind of just have to own it and say, whether this works or doesn't, like 99.999% of the people that you date in your life won't be the one, and there's no avoiding that. You kind of have to just go through it, and it's kind of like a little upbeat anthem to sort of help get yourself through some of those heartbreaks and say that you don't really care, when in actuality I care very much, but it's really nice to say it to myself, you'll be all right, he can be your mistake.
Did anyone hear Candace Boyd on Chris Evans' show? Maybe not. So you did something special on that. You didn't just sing one of your own songs, you sang somebody else's song.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us what you sang.
Stand By Your Man.
Wow.
Yeah, and I love the story. Tammy Wynette she always kept her like hair license just in case music didn't work out either. So I understand her. Keeping another backup career, I thought that was pretty cool.
I think she turned up in Nashville with children in tow, and she didn't stop being a hairdresser for many years.
Yeah, she's amazing.
So the Chris Evans show has got listeners, apart from the people in this room. So now can you tell us about Burning House?
Yes, Burning House. I wrote this I had this dream about a burning house, and I was going to see an ex of mine. It ended really badly, and I was going to see him a few years later, and I thought, this is my chance. I'm going to apologize for how things ended and try and fix it. And the night before this big party I was going to see him at, I was practicing my apology, and I went to bed with all that on my mind and dreamt about his house on fire in this field. And I'm running towards it, and there's all these emergency crews around saying, you can't go in, the house is about to come down. He's in there, but you can't go in. And in real life, you should never, ever run into a burning house. But this is a dream, and I was a superhero, so I ran straight in, and he was trapped, and I couldn't get him out. So instead of leaving and saving myself in the dream, I just laid down next to him and held him so he wouldn't have to die alone. And it was a really heavy dream to have about someone that you care about, but isn't going to be the one for you. And that guilt that a lot of people come up to me and explain they have, for them the dream is about someone they love that has an addiction problem, or someone they love that they know it's never going to work out with them. Because there's certain things in your life you just can't fix, and you have to come to terms with that at some point. So that's kind of what that heavy song means to me, but I love that it means so much to people here too. It's been really awesome to see that.
Your songs are really interesting because you don't seem to sing about drinking and fishing holes and dirt roads and with that pretty girl next to me in the truck. You don't
I know,
do that.
no, I sound really fun to drink with, don't I?
Tell us something about Runaway Train, because I like that one.
Yeah, isn't that great? So that one, actually it started out, we were asked to write that song for, we were going to pitch it to Elle King. I don't know if you guys know who she is. And the producer said, will you write something kind of like Adele, but with technology references and sort of dark? So we started out that song as, I'm gonna hit you like a drone strike from a clear blue sky. And we're like, whoa, too much, don't do that, dial it back. And we tried it again and we came up with Runaway Train, and I loved it so much we just kept it for ourselves. But it's kind of exploring revenge and how you get so consumed with getting even with people, and you're getting so consumed you're not yourself anymore. So how have you really accomplished anything by hating someone so much?
Lady here.
Hello, Callum. I'm Linda from Grimmer's Community Radio. I think just yesterday or the day before, I saw your TED talk on. Oh, it was lovely, on music and
Thank you.
psychology and how music bonds and stuff. And what I think it just came across how much music means to you. And I know for the fans of country music, it means so much to them. So to have that kind of feeling of the audience, I just want to know how that kind of feels for you when you get thousands of people or hundreds of people singing their songs back to you.
It's amazing. It's definitely a two-way street, and thanks for watching that TED Talk. That was the most nervous I've ever been. And I think a lot of times you think of music as the artist is giving something to everyone. And when I get to hear the stories and when I get to see people, I see it in people's eyes. Like, you think we can't see you when we're singing, we can see everything. And we see how it affects you. We watch rooms feel different, and it is just as healing for me as it is for you. And that's the coolest part that I didn't quite expect, that it's such a relationship. And I'm happy to have a relationship with the people here too. It's going to be really fun tonight.
There's a gentleman now next.
James Day King, Lyric Magazine. How's married life? Is the honeymoon period over? Or
Yeah. No, we're still doing chores for each other. So the honeymoon period is still in full swing. We have a great time. We've been friends for a long time too. I think that helped a lot, because it's kind of a weird career in terms of scheduling and being apart from each other. You kind of have to start saying to yourself, we're not going to look like other people, so let's make up our own rules, you know, and it's working out so far. We're having a really good time.
Can we keep going another 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay, right. Lady there. That one, sorry.
Hi, Cam. I'm Margaret from UKCountryRadio.com. Now, I just wanted to ask, because you're a songwriter, and last night I went to the Songwriters' Evening.
Yeah.
Who inspired you to become a songwriter itself?
You know, when I was little, I would write horribly emo poetry. And I remember my mom and parents, they had us read, gosh, who was it? We just read a bunch of famous poets when we were younger around the dinner table. And then my mom loved like Joni Mitchell and Bob Dylan, and my dad loved like the Stones, and I think all that music kind of came together. And obviously, like, my grandparents had a ranch, and we spent a lot of time listening to Patsy Cline, and I try and emulate her voice. And it's so funny when you try and write songs, you think you're gonna sound like the people you love. Like, I love the Indigo Girls too, and then I think it comes out sounding like you, for better or for worse.
Hi Cam, it's Caroline at Think Country. I'd like to know, who would be your dream to sing and collaborate with?
Last year was a really crazy year. I got to sing with my dream collaboration, which was Eric Church, and I got to do it at this beautiful venue in Colorado called Red Rocks. I got to sing with Alicia Keys. I've got to sing with like Lady Antebellum. It's been like a really crazy. I got to sing a duet with Vince Gill on his album. So it's kind of like getting a little crazy that my ideal people is getting smaller and smaller. But I feel like there's a few people I really love. You know who I love, who's British, that's amazing, is Sam Smith. So I feel like maybe I'll sneak on to one of his things.
Lisa from USA Country UK. You're very bold in your persona and how you're on stage. But there are any times when you think you're quite vulnerable and you let that take hold of you?
Yeah, all the time. When I used to, the first few times I sang Burning House in public, I was extremely embarrassed. Like my face would get hot. Like everyone knows that I've been such a jerk to this guy in my past, which I don't think everyone, it's not that obvious, but in my mind, everyone is reading my diary and this is so embarrassing. And the TED Talk was terrifying too. Just getting up in front of people, public speaking, I think is probably everyone's nightmare. That is very true for anyone. And I think the best thing to do is like, sometimes I try and dissociate and pretend I'm not really there. But I think if you stay in your body and just face it head on, it always ends up for the best and you're happy you kind of went straight through it. But no, most things are pretty terrifying.
Hiya, I'm Hannah from Building Our National. I just wanted to know your view on females being paid in country radio. If you think it's changing and if it's going to get a bit more equal anytime soon.
Yeah, I hope there will be more women on country radio. I think right now there's not very many that are on the charts. Like there are a lot of women artists that exist, obviously, but being played on the radio is kind of like a different story. Getting signed by major labels is a different story. And while I really appreciate that everyone's excited that there are a couple more of us now, because when I first started, there was, I think, maybe one song on the chart in the top 30 that was a female.
You started Miranda or Carrie.
Yeah, exactly. And then maybe another one would come in, but it was like bizarre. Like, I mean, I don't know any genre that is like that, and it's really hard to pinpoint why, but I think it's really also, while exciting and grateful that there are a few more, like that Kelsey and Marin and I are doing great things, and there's such great artists that are happening. You know, we are 50% of the population, so maybe a couple more. You could throw us like a couple more.
It's different here. People like Ashley Monroe get
Good.
playing.
Oh, I love Ashley.
Chris Country here definitely playing lots of
Good.
John from the Bar Network. They really
Thank
do.
you for doing
Now,
that.
every time I've seen you, you've worn something yellow, and I just wonder if I'm missing something today.
Yeah, I've got.
Is it coincidence or?
No, I love it. It's my little California sunshine that I get to take with me everywhere. I'm horrible with weather. Like, I don't really understand coats. You know?
This is really warm day for us today.
I know. Actually, I'm doing okay here. This isn't too bad, but I brought, like, I thought it was going to be so freezing. I brought like a heavy parka.
So, did you grow up? You were born in Huntington Beach.
Yeah, born in Huntington Beach.
But was that where
And
you
then I grew
lived?
up in the San Francisco Bay Area.
That's cold up there.
A little bit colder. Like, I remember our first Christmas, we went out shopping for Christmas trees in like shorts, and it wasn't short weather. We didn't quite understand that yet.
So where's Huntington Beach in relation to LA? Over there?
Huntington Beach is right near Los Angeles, so it's Southern California. It's like the palm trees, surf capital. And then the Bay Area, which is about a 6-hour drive north, that is like when you think of San Francisco and like the fog and Golden Gate Bridge, we're like a little bit
And
near
then
there.
you keep going up to Seattle at the top, that's like...
Yeah.
I think we've got time for one, maybe two. There's someone... Lady here, sorry.
Hi, Cam. Hi, Dina. I'm the Pink Cowgirl, and I work
love
for Red Rose Country. If you're ever feeling down or anything, is there a particular CD or particular artist that you will sit and play to make you feel better?
You know what's so funny? I sometimes really like feeling down, if you can't tell from songs like Burning House. So I actually kind of like sinking into it even worse and just crying. So I remember, like I was just thinking of Tracy Chapman, The Promise. I remember like one bad breakup and I just played that song over and over and like cried to myself. Yeah, what else? I don't know. I think it's really inspiring just to watch, again, like a lot of the women that are singing. I'm trying to think of some that would be surprising, like St. Vincent. I think she's an awesome example for women. And yeah, I mean, I do listen to Patsy Cline all the time still. I think she's got such like soulful sadness in her voice. And I love that. And I think that's what's so great about country music is that a lot of the pop stuff, everyone's trying to sing about being happy and it's Friday night and dance and Friday night. And you're like, it's not always Friday night. Like sometimes I lose my best friend, and sometimes I have a breakup. And country music, I feel like you can sing about the sad stuff, and it doesn't make you more sad. It kind of like,
You're happy.
yeah, you kind of like
You're very happy.
healing, yeah. And then you also get to see with each other that we're all going through the same stuff. I love that.
We've kept you here a long time. Is there one final question, or are we going to let go? Because you're on quite soon, presumably, aren't you?
I don't know what exactly is happening.
You're doing all kinds of things. Anyway, and we can't wait for you to come back and do your own shows and
I would
whatever.
love that.
In fact, you have got your own show. You
Yes.
know you have. Can you tell us where that is? Do you know where
Yeah,
it is?
Bush Hall on the 14th so we'll be back just after we do this crazy run around to Ireland and Scotland, and then come back and going to do our own show at Bush Hall.
So, Bush Hall in London, which is a wonderful... Have you been there?
No.
Yeah, it's 100-year-old, and it was built by this man who was a builder for his daughters so they could have dances in it.
Oh, I love
It's got
that.
chandeliers and...
I'm excited.
So that's Tuesday. So there we are. Thank you very much for coming to...